Hello and welcome to KupoCast. I hope you're well today. Thank you for joining me. Two things. One, this is not live today, so I'm sure you're in the chat saying, hey, but this is actually pre-recorded. I'm recording this on Thursday ahead of the stream. So I apologize for that. I decided to do that because in the past, at this time of year, we've ran into some issues with our connection. As many of you know, I live in a rural region, and as the weather starts to turn, the internet can get a little bit iffy. So I didn't want to take any risks. So I decided that a pre-record was better because I want to make sure that this information gets to you the way I want it to without any interruptions. And the second piece of information is to tell you that I do have a very mild cold. Thank you to my daughter Rial for bringing that beauty home from school. So I'm not feeling 100% today, but I didn't want to delay the cast. I wanted to deliver the information to you, so I apologize if I don't sound that great. I am a little bit under the weather, but I think I should be able to survive this cast. So before we begin, before we get into all the information of things upcoming, I'd like to take a little bit of time and just kind of look back at Vancouver, Pom West, and we're going to start with the opening ceremony. Here we go.
Good morning, and welcome to KupoCon. We're thrilled to welcome you to Pom West, the final event of Generation 6. Before we begin, let's do some warm-ups. On the count of 3, I want you all to say, "Come to me, Ifrit." Ready? 1, 2, 3. Not bad, but let's try that again with power. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hey, that's pretty good, but I know someone who does it better. Joining us from London, please welcome the voice of Clive from Final Fantasy XVI, Ben Starr. Making his first appearance at a KupoCon, please welcome the voice of Roche in Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth and Sin and Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon. Please welcome Austin Lee Matthews. Making her KupoCon debut in North America, please welcome the voice of Fang from the Final Fantasy XIII trilogy, Rachel Robinson. He's here to embrace his dreams. Also making his North American Kupo debut, please welcome the voice of Zack from the Final Fantasy VII series, Caleb Beers. Our final guest is one of the most iconic voices of the series. Please welcome the voice of Yuna in Final Fantasy X and Agrias in Final Fantasy Tactics, The War of the Lions, Hedy Perez. It's time to start the show. Have your quest logs at the ready and welcome the organizer of KupoCon and your host for today, Alex Main.
See you next year!
So there was the opening ceremony. Now the venue actually ended up being great. Like, not that we were like really concerned, but being split over 2 floors, being a venue that we'd never used before, there were some concerns and, just, general concerns because it's a new space. But it actually went really well. The event was very smooth, a little bit of backing up on the signings, but we caught up pretty nicely and honestly stayed to schedule very well. So excellent day. But let's fast forward to the closing ceremony with the award presentations, which are always, as you know, a tearjerker. Let's go take a look at that.
12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, if you're still standing, very carefully, please make your way to the front. Thank you. Just line up both sides. So we begin by we're going to pull each individual up. Even if the individual that comes up has more tokens than you, I still would like to know how many you've got, because the fact that you're still in this line is a massive accomplishment. So please don't go away. Let's have a round of applause. So my first question is an easy one. How many of you are under the age of 18? That's a good start. So I'm going to invite you up. So how many did you get?
48.
We actually have 2 different awards. We have one that comes from a team, but we have the one that comes from the people, which is what we call the nobleman, which is based on Final Fantasy IX. But recently, in my last KupoCast, some of you might know that we introduced a new award, which is the Nobleman Youth Award. And this is for you. Congratulations. Today? 18. 18. Congratulations. Thank you.
I lost count. I think it's 101.
You're gonna have to. So, we'll confirm. We use the time when I go through people to absolutely confirm that. But 101 is the temporary number. It's a fantastic. Congratulations. 45. 45. Wow, that's fantastic. Congratulations. 25. Wow. 25. Well done. Congratulations. That's fantastic. This is fantastic. 54. 54. Well done.
I already changed that.
Oh, it's going to be changed. That was fine. 15. 15. Congratulations. 42. Well done. while we get confirmation on this number. It's like the election all over again. 25, well done. 18, congratulations. 16, that's fantastic. Okay, and how did you receive?
32.
Super fan. How did you receive?
33.
Well done, congratulations.
71.
71. 15. Okay. 15. Okay. So, we're going to get the final number. What is the number? 101. We have a winner. Oma, you okay? What?
He wasn't standing.
Sort your shit out. Yeah. You did good. He can't swan a boot, so you did good. What I find really interesting is it's always the case when we talk about the staff pick and we talk about the, who we think we should give it to. It's always the case that almost all the time is somebody who received a lot of tokens who we felt deserved it. And this one caught our attention quite a few times. And it's you. Yeah. Are we good now?
Yep.
Excellent. So we presented all the awards. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who signed up to our Patreon today. It does make a difference. You have no clue. The operating general cost of the KupoCon gets heavier and heavier, especially when we're so far from our base. So most of our stuff that we store for Kupo is right on the East Coast in Prince Edward Island where I live. So we had to ship everything over. Thank God for the Apple AirTag, because I was panicking the whole time. But it got here, so we're pleased about that, because that would have been a disastrous event. Thank you for participating in the quest log today. I can say that this is not a confirmation, but I would say that with my hand on my heart that I would really like to bring this back more often. It's been far too long. So, I'm going to put the ball in your court, and I did this for Glasgow, and eventually they prevailed, so I'm giving you the same option. We're going to watch and study our Patreon over the next few months, okay? And if we see a gigantic increase of support on the West Coast, I will do my very best to be back here within 18 months, okay? And I mean, you have no idea how much of a difference that $5 makes, especially when there's so many of you. That's what makes me not understand why Netflix keep cancelling everything. You clearly need me. I would like to thank the staff of Kupo, not the volunteers, but the staff. They're still volunteers, none of us get paid, but they put in many more hours than you can possibly imagine. To Mel, to Natalie, to Lahara. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving your energy for us. I of course thank my wonderful wife, jazz and blah, blah, blah. I also thank my kids for their understanding, because Dad's always gone. I had a message from my daughter this morning. I was setting up the lights in here, and the message just said, "I love you, Daddy." And I was like, "Oh, you broke me." But it gave me the energy to push through, to continue. As I said, we don't get paid to do this. It's very exhausting. I've aged horribly, as you can see. Oh, thank you. Only friends, right? It's lovely to be here. It means a lot that we're able to do this, so thank you. And this only leaves one thing for me to do, I believe, and that is the Warrior of Light. Oh no, there's one more person I have to thank, and that's Eric Metzler. Duty as a friend of Eric to say he is on the market. He is looking for a hunk. He is looking for a muscular man of love. And if you're... Eric, there you go. KupoCon. I believe this is the 18th. The voiceover will remind me if it is. I will say nothing further after this. This is my favorite part of the day. Natalie, are we good to go? Okay, excellent. Hand on heart, thank you for being here. It means so much. Thank you.
It's time to present the 18th Warrior of Light Award. If you're able, please stand. The Warrior of Light is someone who's a pillar of the community. Therefore, if this is your first event, while we're thrilled you're here, you may be seated. Our latest Warrior of Light has also traveled a great distance for KupoCon. If you've not attended a Kupo overseas, you may be seated. This individual not only contributes at events, they also do online. If you're not a member of the KupoCon free company on Final Fantasy XIV, you may be seated. Tara Wilson, you are the latest Warrior of Light. We're going to come back. Bacon's come back. We'll see you tonight. Thank you.
So that was Pom West. What an incredible event. I'd like to start by saying a big thank you to everyone who came, and for all the little gifts as well. All the wristbands. Don't read the words, some of them are really nasty. But there's hearts on them too, so they must be nice, right? But thank you for all the gifts, the mat that I received, the prints that I received, the book with all the messages in. Just so many wonderful gifts. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who came. Thank you to the staff, the volunteers, the special guests, the hotel staff, everyone, for just being such great sports and just making the event what it was. So thank you very much. It was our most successful event on the West Coast today. We've never had that kind of success on the West Coast. So we're so pleased by that success. So thank you. In fact, to put a number to it, it's 182% increase over our 2019 event. Now, our 2019 event, which would have been Port Pom at the Pinnacle, was our worst performing event of all time. It wasn't a bad event, but financially it was very painful, and we actually made quite a considerable loss on it. So it was amazing to come back to the region, and I know that there were so many of you in the community, really pushing people to buy tickets. So thank you for doing that. It sold so well. We had around 800 people, which for a Kupo is pretty typical these days. We don't like to push too much past like around 1,000 because it loses that intimacy, right? So, but we could go bigger, and we will go bigger, and we do hope to come back to the West Coast. I hope to come back to the Vancouver region, maybe even the same hotel, who knows. We don't currently have any plans for 2025 for the West Coast, but we do think that 2026 is very possible, very probable, but we're going to need your help. We're going to need you to sign up to our Patreon if you want to see that happen. To the 40 or 50 people who already have, thank you for signing up. It makes the world of difference. As I mentioned during a lot of our ceremonies, if everybody in that crowd had signed up at $5 a month and just stayed with us for a year, that's enough for us to come back and do an annual event in that city every year. So please know that it makes a difference. And in fact, we're actually running a Black Friday campaign over on our Patreon for the first time ever. You can actually sign up to the lowest tier for a single $1 this month. Then it goes to the standard $5. But we would love your support. It would mean a lot to us. You get a lot of behind the scenes content. So do check that out. So we're ready to move on from Pom West, and I think I'll take these off, not because I don't want to wear them, because I think they'll make a lot of noise during the recordings, but I thank you for them. They're very nice, very Taylor Swifty. Talking of Taylor Swift, we'll get to that in a bit. No, she's not guesting, but thank you. It was lovely to receive so many gifts, and just a very warm and kind audience, so thank you for that. But I guess actually before we should move on from Pom West, we should at least look at the evening footage, right? So let's do that, and then it's time to talk about Glasgow. So before we do that, let's have a quick look at the evening. And I should forewarn you, there is some flashing imagery here and maybe some strong language. What a wild event that was. Hedy is a different type of energy. Hedy and Caleb combined is a different type of energy. Hedy, Caleb, and Ben combined is a very different type of energy. If you'd like to see some behind the scenes clips, which quite frankly are just more chaotic than what you've just witnessed, visit our Patreon. There's a great clip which the staff and a few of the volunteers will know was entitled The Hilton Vancouver Meltdown instead of Metrotown. Nothing to do with the hotel, just the special guests. I may release that video clip over on our Patreon. It's quite funny. So thank you, a huge thank you to everyone who went to the event. I really hope we can go back. So please, consider supporting us on Patreon or our Kupo.shop. These contributions make a big difference to KupoCon. So let's move on. We're now moving our attention to Glasgow. So Pomfinity approaches very quickly. We are just, I think it's 60 something days away? Well, obviously you're a few days in the future, so it's less than 70 days until Pomfinity, which is just crazy. So very excited for that. I just want to talk over a few things. A lot of the information regarding Pomfinity will be released towards the Christmas period. So I won't be sharing too much today, but I'll have some stuff for you. So we have very limited tickets left for the party and community day. It's worth bearing in mind that what you see on the portal right now is all that we have left. So don't think that there's going to be enough for everybody. The party and community day, is purposely smaller. We do that so we've got a little bit more wiggle room to do some of the activities that we plan to do, like the event square. If we had as many people as we had on day one, it wouldn't be as flexible. So please make sure that if you are interested in attending either the party or the community day, that you get on that as quickly as you can to avoid any kind of disappointment. Now, the autograph bundles, they've been available for a couple weeks now. They're selling very, very well. There is still some available to you. So obviously you have access to the coupons on the day of the event. If you have a top tier ticket, then you're more likely to get your hands on a coupon. But with the coupon system, you need to recognize that there are far more attendees than guests. It's a physical impossibility for all of our attendees to meet all the guests. So if you want to guarantee that opportunity, there are still some bundles available. We've separated them onto Saturday and Sunday, which means that we have ample time, and we've been able to make a really good chunk of time aside, so we don't have to rush people. So check out those while they're still available. Once they're gone, they are gone. We cannot add more. I also want to take this opportunity to confirm that there are no plans to announce any future guests for this event. We do have 9, that is quite the chunk, so we're not pushing it any further. There will be ticket loot announcements this month for sure. We've got lots to reveal to you, especially for the Maxima and Ultima ticket holders. A preliminary schedule will also be going up this month, so look out for that. Now, the Kupo era party, which definitely has a bit of a Taylor Swift vibe. Don't worry, it's not all Taylor Swift music. I'm sure there'll be the odd track in there. But we're going to be doing decade music. So we're going to start, I believe, in the 70s. It may be 60s. I think it's 70s. And we're working our way up 80s, 90s, millennium, 10s, 20s. So the music will get more modern as the night goes on. We've actually ordered these really cool LED radio controlled wristbands, which you can see now. They're really, really cool. I think you're really going to enjoy them, and we'll be handing that out to every attendee. It is first come, first serve. We should have enough for everybody, but do arrive on time to avoid disappointment. There will also be a separate TriPom promo for the evening. The daytime one is Infinity Mog, and then in the evening we have another one which I will show you shortly, and I will apologize in advance for it. Then into Community Day, we have lots of community panels, lots of discussions, large-scale activities, competitions, and yes, the return of distant woos. So someone came up to me in Vancouver and said, do you still do the kazoos? And I was like, no, we haven't done that in quite a few years now, like 4 or 5 years. And they're like, oh, I loved that. I was like, yeah, so did I. So the kazoos are coming back. We've actually got some new kazoos made. This time they're engraved. They're really cool, and they will be available for the first time at Pomfinity. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry. Just come to the event. You'll enjoy it. Just imagine distant worlds with kazoos. It's pretty special. So moving away from the generalness of Pomfinity, or more the specificness of Pomfinity, we're just going to talk about Generation 7, and I'd like to talk about the Gill. So the Gill went to print. Here it is. It's slightly modified from the last time I was here on an episode in the summer, I believe. So it's beautiful. I mean, it literally actually arrived here at the house today, minus the 50 gil, which I think is arriving tomorrow. But they're beautiful. They're the same size as before, but the artwork has been updated. You may recognize many of these artworks. You've got Port Pom there. You've got Pom Squared. You've got the bigger Pom, and most recently the Pomfinity event in Glasgow. So brand new, and also the coins, and they're metal and they're beautiful, and they have a little Moogle head on the reverse, and they will be available via Owaka's coin purse, which is available on the ticket portal for Pomfinity. There are not many left, so if you'd like to get your hands on some coins, you are running out of time for that, and they are spendable. You can use them just like a currency. So they just act just like your gil notes or bills, whichever you prefer to call them. But the coins, you can use them, and of course you can also keep them if you want to crash the economy. I mean, obviously everybody wants to keep a little bit of everything, and I completely get that. So we'll make sure we've got lots and lots of gil. Now, moving away from gil, I want to talk about TriPom. So we're releasing Generation 7, and let's have a quick peek at that. So Generation 7 comes with new cover cards to hide what's in the booster. It also comes with a beautiful new Ultima box. So this is kind of a flattened, what it looks like from the top with the sides. With Una on. If you'd like to see what the finished box looks like, you can actually head over to our Patreon. I posted it just a couple of days ago, so please do look at that. It's really quite stunning. This is my favorite Ultima box to date. The Ifrit one before was great. The Chocobo one was great before. The ones that came earlier were a bit basic, but this one is just like bam, right in your face, and you're just like, wow, look at the artwork. So it's really quite stunning. And on the topic of TriPom Generation 7, we're going to look at the cards right now. Aren't they gorgeous? Brand new set and series of artwork, and we'll be introducing this artist to you on our website very, very soon. Some of the artwork you may recognize from an artist from the previous gen, but lots of beautiful new artworks. We've got Ward, Sephiroth, Kamari, Garland, Fat Chocobo, Ida, Karen, Yang, Wuklamat, Ski, and a beautiful, stunning, brand new Limit Break, Cloud of Darkness. The foil of this, whoa. I'll be sharing a little preview to our Patreon sometime very, very soon. And look at Infinity Mog. Isn't that fantastic? Don't tell Pixar. So a beautiful card. I'm sure you'll agree. It's quite something. So certainly a lot to look forward to over the next little while. Very excited to release this generation to you. We do have a few other little tricks up our sleeve. Those of you who are a patron, I've talked about Patreon a lot today, but those of you who are a patron will know that we also have the Pixel series, and they look like this. We are releasing the final set of these. This brings us up to the remainder of our monsters through through Final Fantasies 1 through 6. So these are from 5 and 6, and I'll have future announcements on those soon as well. We're going to be making a few adjustments to the boosters and adding some more cards to them in general as well. So you'll be finding other cards in your boosters, and I'll share more information on that as we get closer to the events. So look out for that. But yeah, so this wraps up our Pixel series for now. I have more information to come for Generation 7.1 in the future. But I would like to touch on the second promo that I talked about. Now, those of you who've been around in the Kupo sphere for a while will know that there's been this weird obsession with this character. I don't even really know how it came around. I think it was to do with Gil or No Gil and Noel Edmonds, the host. So I apologize for this. It has no relevance to the series. It's hilarious. You'll never be able to use this in a tournament, but this is your secondary promo for the evening. It's Mr. Blobby. I don't know why. It's happening. It exists. It's already been printed, and it's ultimately going to become the rarest card of all time, isn't it? So that is the evening promo for Pomfinity. What a great card, huh? A weird card, but a great card. Now, we move away from TriPom and we move to Project Origin. And if you've missed the most recent trailer, don't worry, I've got you covered. Let's take a look, and then I'll be back with all the details.
Project Origin, Alex Main.
Okay, where do we begin?
It would have been 2015. I was in the kitchen doing dishes, and Alex came up and he was like, I've got an idea.
So we posted it on Twitter.
and it exploded. But I had no venues, no money, no nothing. If it had failed, I would have lost everything.
That was a giant risk. It was scary, but hand on heart, I trusted him just like that.
When someone asks me if I'm proud of what I've done for KupoCon, none of it means anything. It's the journey of how I got there. So I think that really when I get to that 20th event and people are going to be like, oh, you must be so proud of it, I think I'm going to be more touched by the journey of how I got there and realized actually I am proud of what I've achieved, but the true happiness from everything came from the struggle to get there.
To me, KupoCon means
friendship,
family,
fun,
community,
purpose,
wholesome,
Love.
oh God. Sorry.
Please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
I didn't know that you cared in the same way. I didn't think you had at it for a while.
Well, you don't know me then, clearly.
So there we have it, Project Origin. I need you to know that this documentary is very special to us. And I was very clear with Eric when I reached out to him and we started having these discussions. And I said to him, Project Origin cannot be propaganda. It cannot be a love letter to Kupo. It has to show Kupo in its most rawest element. You know, it has to show what it's really like for us. Obviously, look at the great things that we've done, but it has to look at the negatives, the things that have gone wrong, the things that have been a challenge, you know, the real stuff. And we have worked very hard on this, and Eric has worked incredibly hard on this. So we'll be doing our final filming session in Glasgow at Pomfinity. This has been a multi-year project. It is a huge undertaking, and I would love for you to come watch it with us at the premiere on August 9th, 2025. Now we're hosting it at the Picture House Central. This is a picture of screen 1. To stand in it is amazing. When we first walked in, all the lights were off and the lights came up, and it was just like, and I looked at Eric and I looked at Nikita. If you look very closely, you can see them sat down in the chairs with the lady from the Picture House who's in yellow there. And we would just all look to each other and went, this is the venue, because we'd already just had a look at a couple of the ones that just really weren't selling it for us. And you know, this one came with a price tag. It's literally steps away from Piccadilly Circus. It is a gorgeous part of London, but it was the right venue, so we went for it. Now, this will be a patron exclusive event. There are several reasons for this. 1, limited seating, but 2, it's to do with licensing. It's just the way it has to go. I'm afraid we can't make it a publicly available event. So it's a patron exclusive event. So if you do want to jump on this, you do have to be a patron. There's no period of like pre-sign up. You have to be several months or whatever. You could sign up the day before and still get access to those tickets. And they will go on sale March 25th, 2025 at 8 p.m. UK. So please consider joining us for that. It's going to be spectacular. Now, to provide you with a few more pieces of information about Project Origin, there are 340 seats in Screen 1. We are considering taking out a secondary screen if the demand is there. Patrons can buy a maximum of 2 tickets, so you can buy one for yourself and maybe a +1. And every ticket will come with access to a pre-mixer that will take place in the venue, and then an exclusive after party, which is going to be at a different venue. And full details will be shared on our website in the very near future. And it's very important that you know that there are currently no plans for a digital release of this documentary. So if you would like to see it, the premiere is definitely the way to go. Will we do future screenings of it? Yes, I'm very sure we will. But the premiere is currently the only way to see it. There will not be a digital or likely physical release of this. It will be a premiere and future screenings. So I do hope you can join us. Nothing to mention on the North American front right now, who knows, but I know that there's lots of you thinking about traveling over to London for it, and hopefully I can convince you with the next piece of information, because if we're in London, well, we might as well maximize, right? So that's why I'm delighted to announce today that we will actually be hosting not only Project Origin, but a pop-up in London that weekend. So I'm delighted to report that from the 6th to the 9th of August, we are hosting a pop-up in central London. There will be a quest log, so you can go off and explore the city. There will be a social mixer on Friday evening, which is ticketed separately. It's not part of the screening. That's not the same social mixer. And this will not be a party. It'll just be like a bit of maybe like a cocktail type thing. We were talking maybe about doing a quiz or something. So something very light-hearted, a couple hundred people for a social mixer on Friday. And there will be a pop-up shop on the Saturday, which is also the day of the screening. And Sunday, there will also be a pop-up shop, and the shop will be free to access. No ticket required, just show up. So, delighted to announce pop-up weekend in London alongside the screening. So, you can double down, make the most of the weekend, and I hope that will make lots of you very, very happy. A huge thank you to everyone who's contributed to Project Origin. It's a very moving documentary. It's coming together very nicely. It's very heavy. There are some strong themes in there, but I think that you will find it a very rewarding experience watching it. I think you'll find it very moving. So I do hope you can join us for that. Now we move away from the UK. We move to our recent announcement that we are returning to Quebec. And one of the questions that we've been asked the most recently is, oh, well, if you're returning to Quebec, they say, oh, are you going to Quebec the province, or are you going to Quebec the city? Well, the fact that we use the term returning should have been the clue. We are returning to Montreal, and I am delighted to share some of that information with you today. So let's get to it. Now, I'm sure it's very easy at this point to let your eyes roll and you're flying through all the information, taking it all in. Well, let's take it one step at a time. Don't jump the gun. So it's going to be October 25th and 26th of 2025. That means you've got quite a bit of time to plan, so almost a full year. And it's our first 2-day KupoCon in North America. I can confirm at this current time, and it's very unlikely this will change, this is our only event in North America for 2025. My schedule of events is full. Kupo aside, I do have a job that I have to fulfill. I do other conventions, and this combined with the other Kupos and Project Origin and all the other things I'm doing in my life, I just don't really have time to commit to any more at this time, unless there's like some giant explosion of support on the West Coast that we somehow squeeze it in, but it's unrealistic at this point. That's why we're eyeing up the West Coast for 2026. But we need that support, don't forget. Now, 2-day event. First time in North America. Very excited for this. So you have your primary day, and then you have your community day. We treat 2-day events slightly differently. We don't want it to be the same thing for 2 days in a row, right? You'll have your quest log and you'll have your market, great. But we want to make the content of the theatre different. We want to split the theatre down and add an event square on day 2. We like to do different things and keep it fresh, keep it interesting, right? You don't want to be doing the same thing for 2 days in a row. How boring. So having a 2-day event really just maximizes the Kupo experience. And if you've been reading and you just couldn't wait, you've read through it, yes, we are returning to the Marriott in-terminal hotel. And we are using more space than we did in 2022 before. We used the ballroom, another couple sections, and in the rooms on the right, we weren't using. The poor people who were in there hosting a board meeting that day had a heck of a shock. But I did tell the venue that was done. So we've booked out the whole floor this time. So we've got lots and lots of space. And I'm pleased to report that there are also special hotel rates for the event as well. Now, the most common question we get, and I'm sure there are people probably saying it in the chat, oh no, why are they going back to the airport again? It's so inconvenient. I get it. So let me explain to you why we choose to host it at the airport instead of in downtown Montreal. There are 2 reasons for it. So I'm going to start with the technical reason, and it's a It's a union issue. So something you'll probably know about Kupo, have you never seen us host in a convention center? I guess we did host in a conference center in Birmingham, but we like events that are in buildings that have a carpet, that don't have concrete walls, that are just warm and friendly and inviting. The one thing I hate about a typical convention is that they're cold and grey and have no feeling, and these giant white LED lights that just make you feel like death. It's very cold, not very inviting. It's not my idea of an event. So we typically host at beautiful hotels, Marriott's, Hilton's, and these come with a price tag. And in some cases, they come with union issues. So for example, if we wanted to host at a beautiful hotel downtown Montreal, we would be required to spend X amount on food and beverage. And that can rock up to as much as $50,000. Not only do we have to spend X amount on food and beverage, we have to agree to book X amount of bedrooms. And if we agree to the bedrooms and we can't sell them, then we have to foot that bill. And it's just not possible. It's not something that KupoCon can do. If somebody would like to write me a check for $100,000 just to cover that, just in case, I'll take it. Let's do it. But it's not going to happen. So we have to look out of that union bubble. And if you come out of the city borders, you do have access to hotels that won't force you to spend that kind of money, because we just can't. We can't guarantee that we're going to fill those kind of rooms. A lot of the times we do, but it's a huge risk to take. Now that's the technical reason. The second reason is the practical reason, and this one I find really interesting. So to explain this, I'm going to use our most recent event in North America, which was Pom West. So let's take a look at the attendee map for Pom West, and you might find this quite interesting. So this is the map. This is where our attendees came from for Pom West. Now what do you notice? They came from everywhere. Now, I've zoomed this map in to focus on North America, and I've done that on purpose because it's just the bulk of people did come from North America, but there were people from Europe, Australia, Japan. I think somebody came from Thailand as well, China, I feel like maybe Korea, maybe New Zealand even, but worldwide. So if you were to look at the bubble that is around the Vancouver region, only about 200 people were from the Vancouver metro area, which is only it's a very small percentage. It works out at like 25% of the attendee base for the event, right? And the other 75% came from other locations. So the thing when you consider events like Montreal, or to be honest with you, any Kupo, let's take Glasgow, for example. We've got people coming from like 26, 27 different countries. So while, yes, we would love for locals to come, obviously, if it's within your reach, we'd love for you to come. But we also need to recognize that Kupo is very much an internationally attended event, by far more by the internationals than it is from locals. So there are many locals who will probably see that we're hosting it at the airport and go, oh, well, I'm not going, I'm not interested. Well, of course, we're sad that you won't be joining us, but please understand that Kupo is much bigger than the location it is hosted in. You are lucky to have it on your doorstep. These folks are not so lucky, especially our good friends in the States who a lot of the time have to travel north of the border. This just makes it very accessible and easy for everyone. One of the great things about the airport is it's also very well connected. There are shuttle buses. It's not difficult to get an Uber or taxi as well. I also believe there is a train service, or I believe they're building one, but I may have just made that up in my head. But anyway, there's a lot happening. It's very accessible. So we do have to recognize all the people are traveling in, and that is the practical reason, because 75% of people who come to Kupo travel for it. Now, if you've never been to the Montreal airport before, the hotel is literally connected to the terminal. It's right at the end by the US check-in area, so it's really convenient. And I will say, while we do have our own hotel rate, it is quite pricey. If memory serves me, it's like around the 300 mark. So if you are on a budget and you don't want to spend that, I have done a quick search recently, and there are many rooms ranging from like $129 to $189, $199 that have free cancellation right now. So you've got the dates, you might want to get on that. A lot of these hotels have a free shuttle to and from the airport that runs 24/7, which is really convenient. So actually there's a lot of pros with hosting it here. So that's the reasons, that's the practical reasons, that's the technical reasons, and that's where we're returning to. The theme of the event will be around travel, of course, and full details will be coming in late February, which will be in the KupoCast after Pomfinity, and sales for this event will begin in May. And if your eyes read all the information, yes, I should have said it from the very beginning, this event in Montreal will be called Pom Voyage, and we're very excited to return to Quebec, and I hope you'll join us for it. We do expect the event will sell strongly. All Kupos have been selling very strongly recently. And of course, the quicker we sell tickets, the more guests we can confirm, the cooler things we can do. When tickets are sold very, very late, it does make life very difficult for us to plan. So your support early is very much appreciated. And before I wrap up today, I do have one other thing I'd like to talk about, and that is Project Tin, or what was recently kind of requoted as Tinfoil, renamed, because you all put your tinfoil hats on and started coming up with conspiracy theories. But Project Tin is a 2026 event, and it is going to be marking our 10 years of KupoCon, our birthday. We're turning 10, and I'll be sharing more information about that in 2025. Obviously, turning 10 is a huge milestone. We have our 20th convention next year, and then the year after we are turning 10. It's a huge milestone, massive in fact, and we will be doing a very special event to celebrate that birthday. Well, my sinuses are about ready to implode, so I'm going to leave you. Thank you very much for joining me. Again, apologies for not doing this live. I'm not sure if I'll continue to do this in this fashion over the winter. Perhaps I will. I'll remind you that if you can support us on Patreon, it is appreciated. Perhaps maybe check out Kupo.shop, where we are running a Black Friday Cyber Monday sale at the moment, the Black Chocobo sale we call it, and it will be running until Monday at midnight, I believe, but the Patreon discount will run until December 9th, and hopefully you'll stick with us after that $1 discount. Pretty good for $1 to get access. And you get access to everything that came before it too. And we are hosting, I believe, a festive Zoom call later this month as well. Well, that's it. We're wrapping up just under an hour. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always great to be able to come here and deliver all this information to you. As I said, I wish I could have done it live, but I thought this was the safer option. So until we speak again, take care of yourselves. Talk soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.